I'm standing on the Appalachian Trail waiting for a man who's been hiking with a rather unusual partner. So stick around for the rest of the story. Welcome to Windows to the Wild. I'm Willem Lang. And many years ago, when I was a young man, I hiked the Appalachian Trail. There weren't too many people with the same idea in those days, so I was pretty much alone for most of my journey. Now, Michael Beaumier is a hiker from South Berwick, Maine. He started the AT months ago in Georgia, and he was hiking with a rather unusual partner. We'll meet Michael here in a little while along the trail near Bennington, Vermont. But first, let's turn back the clock a bit, go back home, and meet Rico.
Come on, buddy. Distractions out here. This is Rico the hiking cat.
Rico, the hiking cat. This is not any ordinary cat that likes to wander outdoors.
All right, buddy boy.
Rico is hardcore. He's an Appalachian Trail kind of hiking cat.
Come on, buddy.
Michael loves Rico, but the Siamese wasn't his first choice as a hiking partner. That honor went to this lady.
Yeah. So I wanted to hike with a dog. I have a dog that I grew up with out in these woods, and it was always my dream to take her, but she just got too old, and I fell in love with having like a companion, having a little buddy that loves it just as much as you do out there. So I knew I wanted to have a pet with me out there. So initially I wanted to adopt a dog, rescue a dog, and my mom said no dogs. So she didn't say anything about cats, so I went out and got a cat. Say hi.
Apparently it worked. On the trails behind his parents' home, Michael and Rico learned to hike together.
He's an awesome cat. He's really hyperactive, and I think he really likes hiking. When we got out there, it kind of worked, and I thought, I can make this work.
Michael's decision to hike the Appalachian Trail wasn't done on a whim. Preparing for the 2,200-mile trek began years ago.
I was a Boy Scout growing up, and we did a little section hike from New Hampshire to Vermont. I was 13, and I just fell in love. It was so gorgeous out there, and we live close to the White Mountains, so in the summer, every weekend, I take my friends out, hike mountains. Mount Major's close to here too. There's so much around here that is good training, and White Mountains are a lot harder than the rest of the trails, so it's good to be exposed to, I think, the difficult stuff when you're getting ready, and that's what I had. So I wanted to do it since then, and I always thought I was going to do it as an adult, like later in life, but I had a chance now, and I said, if I don't do it now, when will I do it?
We met Michael and Rico at home in South Berwick, Maine. They reached the 1,000-mile point on the Appalachian Trail somewhere in Pennsylvania, and then took a few days off. They came home for a birthday party. Rico and Michael walked the trails where they began hiking together.
I I think it's instinctual. As a kitten, it was instinctual for him to follow me, and he recognized me as his caretaker, so if I walked away from him, he would follow me, especially in the woods where there's nothing else, there's nowhere else to go. He's slow, he likes to go at his own pace. It's a lot different than hiking with a dog, obviously, but he's a good companion. He loves to be in the woods and he loves to explore, and I think the way you live on a trail is very similar to the way a cat lives naturally, which is to explore and go to a different place every day and take each day as it comes.
The trek began in Georgia. It takes the average hiker about 6 months to reach the end of the trail at Mount Katahdin in Maine. I can only imagine that with a cat, the trail seems longer.
It's a lot longer than I thought it would be, man. It's long. 2,000 miles doesn't really feel like 2,000 miles until you're starting to hike it. I didn't think I'd be able to do it, honestly. You hear the statistics that only like 20% of the people that start finish, and I think everybody's concern when they start is, can I do this? And it's just amazing to commit to yourself and learn that you can do something that is very difficult. You go out there and you're out there. It kind of becomes your life, which I always thought that was cool.
After a few days of uphills and down, most hikers who take on the Appalachian Trail find ways to lighten the load. They'll dump unneeded items along the way. Michael planned carefully, but had to pack food for two.
Excuse you.
So with the extra weight, a slower pace, and the general concern about Rico's safety, I had to ask, why?
Companionship. I think you form a really close bond to an animal that you're with 24/7 and that you have to provide for all the time. Come on, buddy. So through this journey, we've become very close, and I'm really grateful for that. I'm really grateful that we had a chance to have a different relationship than what's usual for a pet and his caretaker.
Rico hiked the first 1,000 miles with Michael. Then Michael took him home and swapped him for his father, Tony.
You can't really do the miles you want to do with Cat. Initially, I was really sad and I wanted to do the whole thing with him, but I'm looking forward to having a chance to have my own hike, because I feel like so far it hasn't really been my own hike, it's been my hike and Rico's hike. So I'm grateful for that, but I'm also looking forward to having my own hike.
And just as we promised, here they are, Tony and Michael. And you haven't even raised a sweat this morning, boys. A pleasure to meet you. So you're kind of joined at the hip when you're outdoors, is that right? He follows you around?
He follows me, and I also put him in I have a button-up shirt.
Yeah.
I just button up a few of the buttons, and then I stick them right in there, and head pops out, kind of looks around and looks at me every once in a while.
But he walks on his own, too.
He does, yeah. He'd do like 5 miles a day.
That's amazing. How many miles a day could he walk?
About 5. And then
Right.
he'd call it quits. I'd carry him another.
So you guys weren't doing high mileage then, were you?
Well, I carried him another like 10 in the little pocket
Yeah,
setup.
okay.
But
See? Okay.
it was slow going for sure because he liked to take lots of
And he
breaks.
stuck around camp once you set up your tent and
Oh, yeah.
stuff?
Yep. Come on, buddy.
But you decided to ditch him for the second half because
I did.
of the mileage problem.
That's right.
Yeah, you'd be on snowshoes before you finished, I'm afraid.
I don't think he likes the snow.
But you swapped him for the old man.
Yeah.
That's great. And you're doing okay?
I am. Yeah.
Now, you're a teacher,
Teacher.
and you can use what Michael's doing in your classes?
Yeah, I did a little Appalachian map that
Yeah.
we followed. Kids just loved it. And he would send us stories that I'd share. And
Oh, yeah. Now, how is it different between Rico and the old man?
Well, we're going at about the same speed, but I feel like Rico was kind of like a kid taking care of him, and
Right.
having my dad with me, I kind of feel like
Yeah.
a kid again. But of course, it's different with the cat and your dad.
Yeah.
I really enjoy both their company though.
Now, Michael, there must have been some really high points so far, right?
Very literally and figuratively. Yeah.
Well, literally, we know what they were, Klingman's Dome and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But emotionally, for you, what were some high points?
I think when you first come out here, you're very awestruck by everything, and there's always that fear that you're not going to be able to step up to the challenge when you start something big like this. But to realize that you can, and to piece things together and figure it out as you go, it's amazing to see what you can do.
Was there a place where you just went,
Yeah, I think Trey Mountain in Georgia was I slept there. It was like at the end of the first week, and I just remember being like, "Wow, I'm doing this, and I can do this." And it was the most beautiful sunset I think I've ever seen in my life. It was pink and purple, and I was way up there all alone, and the wind was blowing. It was just like, I felt alive. Vermont mud.
how about a low point?
I think having my bear bag eaten, that really sucked. On the trail, you're supposed to hang your food. That's like the #1 rule to protect your food. We do that by hanging it in a tree with a little rope. And I brought a rope that was it was lightweight and cheap, and it ripped. So for a week there, I was just hanging my bear bag on a tree as high as I could reach. And one night, unbeknownst to me, I was in an area with problem bears. So a bear came into the camp like at 10 o'clock at night, and I was in my bed. And usually I let Rico roam just before and just after sunset. So I was just about to call him in, and I hear a bear come into the campsite, stick snapping, and big grunting sounds, and I hear the bear bag fall and being ripped open, and the bear ate all my food for the next couple hours, and I didn't know where Rico was. I didn't get a chance to bring him inside. And at that point, I didn't want to call him because I didn't want him to run past the bear or anything like that. So I figured he was up in a tree, and I crossed my fingers and prayed that he would be okay. And after a while, the bear chomping sounds subsided, and I heard something scratching at my tent. And for a second, I thought it was a bear, but then Rico popped in, and he was fine, thank God.
You got all your
Chomping,
food?
smacking. Yeah, I got everything. I was hungry the next day.
It's what bears do.
Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy.
When people saw you, did they see Rico walk in when he was with you?
Yeah.
What did they say?
They'd be like, "Is this your cat?" A lot of times they'd think it was a stray cat or...
That's just not my cat.
No, I had to make sure. He is mine. Please don't take him. Yes, people would just...
And if it's in your shirt, I expect they would, oh.
Yeah. I had to stop for a lot of photo ops. And
Oh, yeah.
which,
Well, you'll be famous all over the East Coast.
I've heard so many people have said that they've seen pictures of me when I meet them. It's kind of bizarre because there's a lot of them out there apparently.
Through hikers, as they're called, begin to think of the trail as home. It's where they live for months. They move from destination to destination. They eat out here. They sleep out here. They live simply out here. So you've got everything you need on your back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is quite a bit different from what you're going to need when you're in civilization, right?
That's right. It's a nice break from it, though, just to not have so much stuff. And you wake up every day and you check your phone, and then you do everything with all your things, and it's just nice to take a break from that. Wake up and just be looking up the sky and just take out what you need out of your bag and then put it all away back in your bag, and then you have nothing. You don't ever sit down on a couch, or you don't really take time to look at your things. You just go.
Well, Michael started with a 70-liter pack, and then he sent that home and bought a 45-liter ultralight pack.
Yeah.
So in preparation for this, I joined the AMC Club and did a weekend trip up in Crawford Notch.
Ah, good.
And I used his 70-liter pack,
Yeah.
overpacked. My shoulders were killing me that night and the next day. So Michael said, Dad, you should get a lighter ultralight pack. And when he started in Springer Mountain, the wardens there went through, they offered to go through his pack, and they basically took half of his food out, sent it to the next town, and
Got scolded.
sent a lot of stuff home with us, said he didn't need it. So when I came here, Michael went through my stuff and said, Dad, you need one pair of shorts and one shirt. And I had several that kind of changed, and most of my stuff went home with my wife. You're right, you realize what little you need to survive, and how much stuff I have that I don't really need at home.
At the end of the day, Tony heads home to Maine. Michael continues on. Ahead of him is the toughest part of the hike, New Hampshire and Maine. Tony, last day on the trail. Don't break anything.
I'll try not to.
You're too close to home. I wish you all the best. All the best. You know, if I ever come through York, yes,
Stop it.
I'll be there. And Michael, good luck, my boy.
Thank you.
And you will keep in touch, because you're going to be crossing the roads near me at least twice.
Sure.
And we can get together. While Michael treks north on his way to Mount Katahdin, Rico's at home in Maine, relaxed but a little restless.
He spent a lot of time looking through the house. He would go up to Michael's bedroom and sleep on the bed. He wanted to get outside a lot.
Come on, Rico. Come on.
Tony becomes his surrogate hiking partner.
He'd kind of sit and cry, want to be picked up. I think he was used to being carried, but when we would just start hiking without him, he would eventually follow us and catch up. Yeah. And he does. He hikes right along with us, unleashed.
I feel like I was missing a part of me. It was weird. I remember I took a break right after my dad had dropped me off, and I was like, oh, I feel naked out here. I feel like I was missing like a piece of my gear. I was like walking without both my poles. It's kind of sad. Yeah, I missed him a lot. He was at the forefront of my mind the whole time I was out there with him, taking care of him and making sure he was with me and safe. So it was just kind of weird to have him all of a sudden just gone.
It was time for Rico to head home. But he did 1,000 miles. I mean, that's a lot.
Detour, and I went down a logging road to get a change of scenery and just for a change of pace. So that was near Carrabassett Valley in Maine. I just wanted to change the pace. I don't know what made me do it, but I woke up in the morning and I was right on an old logging road, and I decided I wanted to follow that. And I've been walking down this logging road for like about 5 miles so far. I rounded a corner and I saw this little dog, and I thought he was just a lost dog, and I thought maybe his owner was nearby, that he was being taken on a walk. It's this dog that is completely emaciated. And then I got closer, and he noticed me and reared his head towards me, and it was full of quills. And he just started hobbling towards me, so I could tell that he was in need of help, and he knew he was in bad shape. Obviously, I don't think he can walk it, so I think I'm going to have to carry him. I really had no other option. Just picked him up and walked to a spot where I could get cell phone reception. And I called up a hostel that was nearby, and I asked if they could help me out. And luckily, they said that they were willing to help. I got an ID of his owner, called him up, and he said that he was a hunting dog that got lost, and that he'd been looking for him.
Yeah, I'm so proud of him. On the Facebook page for the hostel, he posted Michael's picture on the story, and I think it was like over 1,000 likes and hundreds of comments just saying how lucky the dog was to cross paths with Michael and have a good ending. Yeah.
I was just glad I could help the dog. I think we all want an opportunity to help. But you're going to be all right, buddy.
Michael and Rico left Georgia 205 days ago. One day stands between Michael and the top of Mount Katahdin. As his family waits at the base of Katahdin, Michael takes his final steps to the summit.
I can't even explain the emotion that I felt. It was really exciting and kind of sad also, and just something kind of took me over, and I finally made it to that sign, and I just remember sitting down and like this huge sigh of relief to be done, but also to be happy that it happened, and it's kind of indescribable.
Remember Addie, Michael's dog that you met at the beginning of the story?
We had to put our family dog, which was really Michael's dog, down. Yeah, it was not lost on me that so soon after putting Addie down that Michael came across this dog that looked just like her. It definitely helped me with kind of that grieving process to know that Michael was able to help this other dog. It's just, it was kind of a magical moment.
I just wanted to commemorate her in a good way, and so I had my dad bring her collar, and I wanted to take that with me. I slept with it every night and cuddled it and thought about her, and kind of dedicated the hike to her, even though I didn't set out originally to do that. She was kind of what got me into hiking, so it felt like a nice way to honor her, to take her with me in spirit the rest of the way with the collar. And I brought it up Katahdin with me, and it's right on my picture, so every time I look at the picture now for the rest of my life, I'll think of Addie.
There's one bit of unfinished business. It waits patiently behind these doors at York Middle School in Maine.
We're going to start with a slideshow, kind of show you what the Appalachian Trail looked like as he went from Georgia to Maine. We have up on our wall what our 3 habits of work and learning are. We call them our howls, and one of them is perseverance. So we talk a lot about making a goal, sticking with it in your schoolwork, just social relationships, things like that. And so that was a big part of what Michael accomplished when I heard that only 17% of the people who start the Appalachian Trail actually finish it.
That's Rico taking a nap. Very comfortable, as you can see, spread out.
I did kind of give Michael a pep talk when I left him off in Georgia, that this is something that he's been planning and looking forward to, and really to stick with it, don't give up, because I knew he could do it.
I was hiking with my dad. I got to kind of make a new relationship with him, and I heard stories that I hadn't heard before, and we just get really close, and that feels really good. And I have a really tight bond with my cat now, Rico.
So for the kids to hear that he made a great, hard-to-achieve goal and made it, and that there are challenges. There are lots of things that, with the weather and the hunger and sometimes the loneliness, you just kind of work through those things and make yourself meet that goal.
Thanks for joining me on Windows to the Wild. Support for the production of Windows to the Wild is provided by the Alice J. Reen Charitable Trust, the Fuller Foundation, the Gilbert Verney Foundation, and viewers like you. Thank you.